today I'm going to be talking about how you can graduate from university without having an overdraft. This is relevant to anybody who is about to start uni, people who are currently at uni, anywhere in their university journey. First one that's very important is student finance. So you want to make sure if you're starting university, you've applied for student finance in plenty of time. And even between academic years, make sure you apply early on when you get that email or that text to apply for student finance. This is because late student finance payments can be a headache, especially if you're starting in September. You're going to have rent payments, food payments. You need to get to university in the first place. And without that initial money, it's going to be tough. That first month when you move to university is the one that's going to cost you the most. Make sure you include the correct household income details, especially if you come from a household with very low income and you won't be getting support from your parents. That's very important that you get this right, as it will allow you to be able to get a higher student finance allowance. And for those of you that have a higher household income, make sure you ask the bank of mum and dad for support to help you along. Second most thing that's important when you're starting universities is applying for any scholarships or any grants that the university is offering. Scholarships are usually listed on the university website, so you can Google them to see what scholarship university offers. Make sure you apply for them, and there can be quite obscure ones for things that are actually quite silly, and there are some which are based on your performance at A levels and the grades you get, and can be something that can either be for a single year or throughout your whole time in university. It's usually money that you get that you don't have to pay back. The third most important thing that you can do for yourself is getting a job. So first and foremost, you just finished your A levels, you've got a couple of months, you don't know what to do with them, get a summer job. Getting a summer job will allow you to have money for you when you're moving to university. It's going to be expensive. You're going to need to buy utensils, bedding, a lot of things, and then move to uni. And then you're going to have Freshers Week, where you're going to be out all week, getting to meet people, going for drinks, eating food. But that's going to cost money, so make sure you get a job to start off with, and it can be a little emergency pot, especially when student finance runs out, which it probably will for most of you in the first term, as you know, this might be the first time you're handling your finances. For me, I used to work in between the university years, so every summer I would get a job. So one of the jobs I did one summer was working in the Lake District as a waiter. Made a lot of money, especially gaining tips. Other jobs I did was working as a mentor on the National Citizenship Service. I think I would make about 1,800 every summer from that I work with them. And this allowed me to have money to be able to move back to uni, as student finance sometimes came a bit later than when university started for me. It allowed me to have money at Christmas when the student finance is running dry. It allowed me to have money even to move my stuff from my university accommodation to storage for summer, for me to be able to move home from university. Also allowed me to be able to visit my friends and see them when I wanted, and also going out and eating and outings as much as I wanted. Also, getting a summer job will allow you to be able to start saving, because the goal is not only just to create money for you to spend during your year, but also to be able to save. Graduate, the third element is probably one I think is the most important, is having a budget. So for me, before I started any academic year, I would have a budget. First and foremost, what was I going to spend on rent? What would my goals be? So I would set my rent payments out, deduct them from the overall income I expected myself to receive that year. Then I would budget how much I was planning to spend on food, factor in a weekly allowance for me, so for things like traveling day to day, getting to uni back and forth, buying myself treats or lunch. And then after that, I would also have a travel allowance. So at Christmas, I want to go home. If I want to visit a friend during term time, I would also have a quota of what I wanted to save as well. So that would be a thorough budget. So I would have two accounts. I would have one my account where I have all of my savings, and my other account where I have money to spend for the week. I would transfer my money for the week on a Sunday to my week account, and then I would spend that money. When that money is finished, I know I've used my budget up for the week, and I have to wait till Sunday before I can top it up again. For me, that is a very useful method that I think I'll be carrying on even into working life. It meant that I didn't have periods where I overspent. Always had a plan, and I knew roughly how much I was spending and keeping a track of it. You can earn loads of money, but if the money is going out as quickly as it's coming in, then you're just as good as somebody who's not working or who's not saving a lot of money. Moving on, it's one of the side hustles I had. So I had a little lending business. As soon as I managed to acquire a little bit of money for my summer job, I would lend people I trusted, who I knew, some money, who were either starting a business venture that they needed some money for. So a small university business venture, we're not talking anything crazy here. And from this, I would manage to earn about 25% returns on my investments in these people. And it was very useful. It's something that's very risky. It's not financial advice, something that you do at your own own risk, as you know, lending at university peers, there's a high chance that you're not going to get your money back as people are not working. So you know, you have to be very wary of who you're lending to and have a way of vetting and vouching for these people before you send them your money, because you might not get it back. I always use the contract that I'd written for myself to be able to know I could get my funds back. Another one of my side hustles, so if you don't know, I also make music, and as part of making music, I started publishing it onto Spotify, onto Apple Music, onto Amazon Music, YouTube Music, and I was earning money via streams, via royalties, it being played on the radio, and from that I would manage to earn about £100 to £200 a year. It's not a lot of money because I wasn't really making major streams, but if I was, potentially could have earned more. So that's something else. If you know you're creative, there's something else you can do. You can tap into that by putting your stuff out on YouTube or by selling something that you can create and earning money from that. Now we're moving into a territory of those people where some of the things I've suggested have not been an option, or you're really close to the edge and you know you need funds quickly and you don't have any other choices. A hardship fund. So universities usually offer hardship funds, which are sort of emergency funds for people who haven't got any money left. These can either be loans sometimes, or sometimes they're actually money that you're given that you don't have to pay back. So make sure you research about universities' hardship funds and go on the website and find out how you can access this, especially if you're in a situation where you need money for food, for rent, and you don't have anything left. A hardship fund is something that's quite useful. For me, when I first went to Bath University, I wasn't doing any of the things I said before, and my student finance had actually run out. I had nothing left. I actually used the hardship fund to get some money to be able to survive the rest of that term, so that was quite useful. So that's something to look into. And then the last one is opening a student account. Opening a student account will get you a few benefits. One of them can be a freebie, and the second one is overdraft. So for me, I opened a student account with Santander, and they gave me a 4-year railway card, which allowed me to save on travel a lot during my 4 years at uni. And also it had the option of me having an overdraft in case I was in arrears, and the overdraft usually has 0% interest, meaning you can borrow and pay back without acquiring any penalties. Aim of this video honestly is for you to not ever need to utilize that overdraft. I never really utilized my overdraft as I didn't really like borrowing, because I knew I would have to pay back when I was working, or spend it all during the year and then pay back during the summer. Overall method is make sure you have a budget, make sure you live within your means. Make sure you hustle by either getting a side job, summer job, and also finding little things here and there to make money while you're at uni.